What's going on, guys? Today we're going to tackle the scapula as a joint. So a lot of people just think of the scapula or your shoulder blade as like this floating bone muscle island that just sort of like drifts around your upper back. But the second you start looking at it like a joint, you can start getting the most out of your training, especially for back, upper shoulders, things like that. So this looks very complicated, I admit. But you got to think that basically we have two axes that the joint's going to work on. So elevation, depression, so shrugging up, bringing down, and protraction and retraction. Those are the two main opposing movements of the scapula. We can get into a downward and upward rotation and stuff like that, but as it pertains to most of your training, this is going to be where we start. So if we think protraction opposite to retraction, elevation opposite to depression, most of our movements that address training the muscles of the scapula can be sort of plotted somewhere on this graph. So we'll sort of work our way around and sort of conceptualize how we use our scaps when we train. So straight out elevation. So barbell shrug is elevation, and a little bit of protraction is an action of the upper traps. But you need to think too, there has to be an eccentric load. That's where a lot of people struggle with the scapula, is they don't hit the opposing range of motion. Like if you do a row, everyone just keeps their shoulder blades locked in and works on squeezing. Well, it's like you wouldn't train a bicep, a flexor of the elbow from an already flexed position, right? No, you want to extend it first. So scapula, same thing. So if we're gonna, start at the top with an elevation and protraction, then we need to make sure that we're depressing and retracting to stretch the upper traps to gain as much travel through that muscle as we can. So moving right along, like a hammer strength pull down or a high underhand pull down is an elevation and protraction of the shoulder blade. So that's our eccentric load, and our concentric lies on the other side of the spectrum, right? We're going to bring down and we're going to retract and depress, so that opposing motion. Then pure protraction, retraction, a horizontal row. So you got to think, a cable row or something like that, where protraction is the end range concentric, where the shoulder blades are pulling apart in order to have room to travel, and retract to have an effect on the lats and the rhomboids. This one's an interesting one, the Charles Glass sort of dumbbell row, where the people sit on the dumbbell and then they do the cable row. I don't know why they do this, but I've seen it a lot. But let's break it up, right? So we're at the bottom of the range of motion, we're protracted and depressed, the shoulder blades are down, and we're pulling high, retracted and elevated. And so basically, we can go all the way around from lat pull down to barbell shrug, upright row. Basically, you always have to think, at what point, at what vector is the end of the eccentric pulling me at what 2 points of either elevation or protraction, or depression or depression and retraction, and then go through the scapula's full range of motion in the eccentric, but also the concentric, right? So get the shoulder blades moving is going to really emphasize your back training as a whole. So kind of a little food for thought. Give it a try next time in the gym, and we'll see you next time.